What do you like so much about Bill Hicks?
At the time, he brought up a lot of things that, I don't know, people weren't talking about.
He's like, still so relevant. It's like you forget that it's like the early 90s or whatever, and he was talking about George Bush Sr. and then, 10 years, 12 years later, it's like, it could have just been the exact same thing.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you like Bill Hicks? What are you coming to see the film for?
I remember seeing it about 20 years ago or so.
Yeah? Why do you like Bill Hicks?
Bill Hicks is my hero, man.
He's the only man that's kind.
Why do you guys like Bill Hicks so much? You come up to see his film.
I actually don't know who he is, but he's making me see it, so I'm going to be educated today.
Fantastic. So you're a longtime fan.
Well, he was an advanced comic.
So what is it you like so much about Bill?
Mainly just his presence on stage, how he can just talk about anything and just not give a shit what anybody thinks about it. So
Absolutely.
just impressive with his demeanor and the way he carries himself on stage.
Coming out to see the premiere of the Bill Hicks film. What brought you out tonight?
I'm a big Bill Hicks fan from a long time ago. He was he was the greatest comedian of all time, in my opinion.
So you work here?
I sure do. Lonely Sunset 5, happy employee.
Right here in LA. That's great. So you're a Bill Hicks fan too?
I love Bill Hicks.
What is it you like about Bill Hicks the most?
I like the fact that he's a true American that is always questioning profusely the powers that change our world and develop our world that we live in. And that's the job of a comedian.
Bill was someone who was always transmitted virally by word of mouth. It was someone saying, "Did you hear this guy?" and like kind of passing on to his friends. So thank you very much for coming. We've got a real treat for you. One of the people who's in the film is here in person. He's one of the original Texas Outlaw comics who worked with Bill in the Houston clubs. His name is John Farnetti. He's a wonderful performer, and he's going to do a little introduction with some of his recollections of Bill, and it's what we like to call a Hickcitation. So please will you welcome John Farnetti. Hope you enjoy the film.
Harlock. Are you excited about seeing this movie? I'm excited, and I've seen it 16 times already, and I see more in it, and how cleverly, brilliantly well it's made. More every time I see it. And something you should know is the clips are chosen not necessarily because, oh, there was all-time greatest and everybody's favorite, because of how well they tie in, to use a grad school word, organically, with what was happening in his life and with his family and with his friends. And you see it's all really well tied together, and I'm sure you'll have a great time. And I don't want to drag out your waiting for it, but would you like to hear a little bit about what Bill was like? Yeah. Well, what I'm asked most about Bill when people know I know him is, since he was so great, and he started so young, why wasn't he better known in America? Well, for one thing, for at least the first 10 years of his career, he took and had a fairly lazy, laissez-faire policy toward his career. He spent most of his daily 23 free hours just kind of lying around like a head with its chicken cut off, as we used to say. Or as he would say about cats, cats do nothing all day long. They just sit there all day. They don't even move. I know. I watch mine. When he was in motion, all he usually did was turn his back on his career and saunter off in another direction. A classic example of this was a Friday in '84 when he wanted to do a supra-heroic dose of mushrooms and go for an urban hike. So I got to his place about noon, and apparently Bill had called Timothy Leary's Pizza Parlor and ordered an extra large mushroom pizza. Hold the pizza. Great. And then he says, at 1 o'clock I have to call Robert Morton, then the segment producer of Late Night, to make his first audition, set up his first audition for Letterman. Great, so we'll wait for lunch after you make the call? Oh no, Bill liked the old Junker motto, let's do it all now, then we'll be clean. So, in about a half hour, when we were able to walk in a fairly straight line, we head out the front door, and he passes a table where he had his globe, and he sweeps it under his arm and says, "In case we get lost." So off we go, and he's supposed to call at 1 o'clock. We saunter up to a phone booth. It's about 4 p.m. He calls late night, and he's told Mr. Morton has gone to Connecticut for the weekend. He cannot be reached. Bill immediately pales. His head turns a whiter shade at Johnny Winter, and he says, "Did I fuck up? Well, the last thing I want in my hand is a psychedelically bummed out Bill Hicks." Just as he could light up a large theater, he could darken a long alley. He tended to wear his spleen on his sleeve, and when he was bummed, it was like a house full of Barrymores were bummed. Franklin Roosevelt couldn't deal with that much depression. Once, for a local LA TV talk show, he came in with 2 shirts on hangers, both of them black. He said, one for each mood. So I lined through every tooth I've ever had, said, no, you didn't fuck up. No, not at all. That's not a fuck up. And on we walk in our now less than merry way, spouting those hallucinogenic truths, you know, telling it like it is while seeing it like it ain't. And he keeps saying, did I fuck up? Did I fuck up? No. Finally we stop for a rest, and to release the building pressure in his head, he starts doing Ethel Merman. Doesn't everybody? Ethel Merman had died the day before, and he starts singing, "There's no business like show business," just over and over, louder and louder. Finally he's just shrieking, "There's no business." And we happen to look up and we see a small plane towing a banner. Far too high to make out what it says, but Bill keeps looking up as if he can. And then he slowly reads, "You fucked up, pal. You know who I'm talking to." But apparently you can't fuck up fate, and he ended up being on the show almost a dozen times. And everybody knows the last time was totally, completely, utterly censored. But it wasn't always like that. The second time he was going to be on, in August '85, he was told he had to run through his set for the NBC Standards and Practices man. So Bill and now producer Bob Morton and Mr. Tagalong go into this little room about the size and decor of an old East German service elevator, and in walks the censor, Bob Clotworthy. And he has gray hair. He looks like a late November cloud. He's got gray hair, gray shirt, gray pants, gray hush puppies, complimenting a mortgage pallor, and he says in a monotone, "Go through your act, I don't laugh." Every comic's dream, I don't laugh. Bill runs through his set, and you know the human cold front just keeps saying, "I don't laugh." Finally, Bill finishes, and Clotworthy, looking like he's about to rain, says, "You can't do the wheelchair bit." Oh, this is a Hicks staple, where he accidentally blinds one kid and paralyzes another in harmless grade school pranks. Morty says, "Why can't he do it?" And Herr Clotworthy says, "You can't ridicule the crippled," and walks out. Morty chases him. Morty, ever the First Amendment advocate, chases him down the hallway. "You telling me Saturday Night Live doesn't ridicule the crippled?" Bill looks at me. "There's no business like show business." So, in response to that sort of thing, and the Reagan administration, and a hellacious amount of whiskey and cocaine, his act became more confrontational. When he was young, and when he first worked in LA, he said, he's walking through town, and some bum says, "Can I have a dime?" And Bill said, "Pal, a dime isn't going to help you." And the bum made the mistake of saying, "It's not going to hurt me now, is it, Sonny?" Bill said, "I stuck the dime in his eye, twisted it, and said, 'You don't know shit, pal.'" By '87, he declared John Hinckley insane because Hinckley shot the president with a mere .22, and he did it for Jody Foster. Bill had a .45, and his obsession was Miss Phoebe Cates. Bill said a lot of comics are one-dimensional, but as you know, Bill was a major motion picture in a black T-shirt. He kicks in the White House door, fills the first family with lead. In the name of socio-political satire, he's stalking Nancy Reagan through the East Wing, snarling, "Come here, you assless bitch!" With much yelping and what sounds like all the artillery at Gettysburg, he takes out the dog. And that's where he always lost the trial. In America, have your way with the assless bitch. Do what you want with the enfeebled executive. Leave the puppy alone. Apparently, in his fantasy, before he was arrested, tried, convicted, and sentenced to death, he did get at least a third base with Phoebe Cates. In the last scene of the routine, he's sitting in the electric chair. The warden is repeatedly asking him if he has any final words. Bill finally stops smelling his middle finger and says, what? He got away with women. I remember when he broke up with his longtime girlfriend. They've been dating since high school, and she confronts him about a week later, backstage at the Houston Comics Annex. She says, I just found out that the night after we broke up, you slept with my best friend. The very night after we broke up, you slept with my best friend. And Bill said, I told you she's no good. Then he went on every wagon known to man, wrote 4 albums, and became the Willie you love. So, thanks a lot. Enjoy it.